The first official screenings of the Fantastic Four First Steps just happened, giving us our earliest ideas of what people like and dislike about the movie, plus new info about the film from Kevin Feige and the cast themselves. Let's get into all of this. And let's start off with the first screening of this movie that happened, because a couple days ago, which is like May 28th if you're watching this in the future, Marvel Studios held a test screening for the Fantastic Four First Steps. And if you don't know, a test screening is essentially what it sounds like. They grab random people off the street, pretty much pull them into this theater and say, hey, watch this movie, fill out this survey, tell us what you liked and disliked about the film. So they're not looking for feedback from the super fans that are going to love most of whatever they pump out. They're trying to find the most diverse group of people possible to kind of simulate the general population's reaction to films. Now, Marvel actually didn't do test screenings for so many years because their movies were all making a ton of money. They had so much confidence no matter what they put out, they'd all do very well. But the year 2023 is when they kind of changed that up, because they put out the movies Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania and the Marvels, both without doing any test screenings, because they were just so confident, oh, people are going to love whatever we put out. But they've already kind of lost the trust of the general audience at this point, so these movies were both bombs critically and box office wise. So now, even at the risk of getting spoilers out there early for movies like Captain America: Brave New World, Thunderbolts, and now the Fantastic Four, they're actually doing what other studios do and had a test screening. Now, Superman actually already had one like a month ago. But one of these people that was at the test screening actually did end up being a fan of the franchise, and they kind of just gave their super general thoughts online, and this has been verified. They were actually at this screening. And like I said, everything's going to be super vague and just general thoughts on, oh, this was good, this was bad. No very specific plot points or anything. Those are floating around there. There's already leaks about the post-credit scene, but I'm not going into that. I do not want to get sniped by Kevin Feige. Now, according to this person, Galactus was their favorite part of the movie, saying that the scale was absolutely perfect. The size and everything feels like it's pulled straight out of a comic book. They loved the performance, thought he was super menacing, one of the best Marvel villains we've seen in recent years. They say the plot feels very Lovecraftian with a cosmic horror angle that gives it a lot of personality, which pretty much just means, again, they're really focusing in on Galactus being like this fantastical monster almost from another dimension. They say watching the entire Fantastic Four kind of dealing with Galactus and this giant threat is actually incredible, but they do complain that there is a lack of character development for each of the Fantastic Four individually. And they say, like, yeah, the performances and everything were good, especially Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm and Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm. They say they were pretty great performances, but the characters themselves, they don't do much work to actually make them feel like a true family, according to this person. Now, again, this is just one person's review. Multiple people could watch the movie and other people could have the takeaway, oh, I love the family dynamic of this film. Now, obviously, the movie's still over a month away. They said a lot of the big visual effects weren't actually finished in this version of the movie that they got to watch, so everything didn't really look that great, so they couldn't really be a judge of how great like a lot of the big action set pieces and CGI actually look in this film. They said they were very disappointed in The Thing. The review of this is kind of funny that they just said, oh yeah, there's some scenes in there about him being a big ugly rock monster, but nothing much else, and he never really gets like a big arc in the film or anything. He's just kind of there. So that person individually that I just highlighted all their points gave the film a 7 out of 10 personally, said it's like good, not anything amazing. And this other insider got sources from other people saying that they're hearing it's an okay movie, not bad, it's just kind of good, nothing incredible, which if we're being honest with ourselves is how a lot of MCU movies are. They're just kind of good-ish films. But with this movie being the last one leading into Doomsday, I think a lot of people have the expectation that, oh wow, this is going to be absolutely amazing. And like I said, this is a test screening. It could actually be amazing for a lot of us MCU fans. Plus, test screenings are not the most reliable for the most part, because again, you're just getting the opinions of a few random people, and even the studios themselves getting the feedback of an entire theater of like 30 to 100 people. It really is not a good judge of like the general population of hundreds of thousands that are going to go watch these movies. Like Sinners very famously tested super poorly. It's one of the highest rated movies of the year. Barbie tested very poorly also, and that movie soared over $1 billion, because again, if you pull in some random guy off the street, they're probably not the target market for either of these movies or the Fantastic Four. They're probably not invested in the universe for the most part. I know it sounds like I'm coping, but I'm not. I'm just saying, like, hey, don't take these random early test screenings too seriously, because who knows, you might absolutely love or hate the movie despite what early reviews say. Now, from the AMC website and kind of coinciding with these test screenings, we do know that the runtime is reportedly going to be around 2 hours and 10 minutes, which I honestly think is like the perfect length. You do not need like a 2-hour, 40-minute Fantastic Four movie. That's just going to be way too much. Plus, the runtime on its own really doesn't mean anything. Just because a movie's on the shorter end doesn't mean they couldn't get a great story in the film, and the same is true of longer. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be better automatically. Kevin Feige, when talking about the film, said that they're not going to be afraid to embrace the silly elements that the previous films were afraid to explore, saying in another time, some might consider the notion of Galactus with a big angular helmet walking through a city goofy. I consider it awesome. Now, I do like this quote, yeah, embrace the source material, all that stuff, But to imply that the original like 2005 Fantastic Four movies were not like the goofiest thing anybody's ever seen is kind of crazy. Like, yeah, they shied away from the sillier comic accurate elements like the suits and stuff like that. But those movies were about as silly and dumb as you can possibly get. Now, the Fan Four Stick movie from 2015 definitely did the overcorrection, trying to be like, oh yeah, we're going to be this darker, more serious take on the Fantastic Four, and it ended up just feeling stupid because of that. So hopefully this film can strike a nice balance in between the two. It is funny though how now like 20 years almost into the MCU, we're deciding, oh yeah, let's actually do the stuff from the comics. Like Wolverine didn't get his classic yellow suit from the comics until Deadpool and Wolverine. Like it was in so many different X-Men movies, just wearing like a white t-shirt or a black leather suit or something. We got more from Kevin Feige talking about pretty much the importance of this movie, but first some from the cast, like Vanessa Kirby talked about playing Sue Storm, saying that she's such a Sue nerd. I think I out-nerded everyone in that room. I got so into quantum physics, it's sad how much I got into it. I could waffle on about cellular vibration frequency, which yeah, I like the dedication here, Vanessa Kirby. Don't know if you need to learn quantum physics for the role of Sue Storm, not gonna lie. Pedro Pascal talked about playing Reed Richards, saying, I see a limitless amount of layers to this character. He does the ultimate version of catastrophizing, a brain that has an overview of threats on a mathematical level, but also being emotionally available. It was a fascinating contradiction. And this is probably going to be like the major driving force of the entire movie with everything we know about it and Galactus. Like, yeah, Reed Richards, the smartest man alive, is probably going to pretty easily solve like a way to save the planet from Galactus or defeat him or something like that. But it's going to be something that requires a big sacrifice or something that a lot of people are going to disagree with. So he's going to have to balance the more human aspects of being a hero with actually saving the day. Now, it's very clear that Kevin Feige knows this film needs to be a pretty big success. He was talking about it in an interview with Empire Magazine. That's where you've seen a bunch of these magazine covers from, saying that they're Marvel's first family, and I really want to do them justice. Went on to say that there's no four characters that are more important to the history of Marvel than the Fantastic Four themselves. And he said when Disney bought Fox, which gave them the rights to the Fantastic Four characters, he said it was a dream come true, and that he explains it was the perfect time to help us launch into a new era. They're Marvel's first family. I want to do them justice. And honestly, I think it's kind of been a good thing that Marvel's had to be humbled with their recent releases, like Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and the Marvels proved that, hey, you can't just put out any bad movie and expect it to make money because it's a part of the MCU anymore. But the same's also true for putting out a good film like Thunderbolts. That's also not going to just make money automatically. You got to actually have good films, good marketing, go back to basics. We already know that Kevin Feige's focusing on lowering the output of Marvel in the next couple of years, lowering how many TV shows they're putting out, how many movies, focusing on quality over quantity. And now with the Fantastic Four, it looks like they're also focusing in on rebranding their marketing. Like we're seeing classic like magazine covers, like here with Empire. We're seeing things you used to see all the time when you were a kid for big superhero movies, like Snapple collabs with the Fantastic Four and stuff. I mean, look, they're literally doing like collabs with Pop-Tart, bringing back flavors that were retired for years. Like this is classic film marketing, and especially trying to get the younger audience involved again because they realize, hey, new generations of kids did not grow up with the MCU. They don't care about our films anymore. So we're seeing this and Superman do a lot of these classic toys and collabs and stuff. And now you got DC coming back stronger than ever with Superman in July being direct competition to this movie and the future of the MCU. And it's honestly not looking that great for Marvel. If you want to hear about how Superman's on pace to break box office records, click the video above me.